My sister's in-laws kicked me out of the wedding for being a filthy divorced woman. My sister found out and made a little change to the wedding. For background, Stella and I are identical twins, 29 female, and we will both be 30 when her wedding comes around this fall.
Oh, wow.
I had her as my maid of honor 8 years ago, and she promised me that I could be hers when her wedding came around.
Very sweet.
I have 2 kids, 6 female and 3 female. They're both flower girls. My marriage fell apart just over 2 years ago due to a stillbirth and my husband's infidelity. My parents and my sister were the only reason I didn't drown from stress, loneliness, and total abandonment of my spouse. I was a total mess.
I am under the water.
I went to therapy, got diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression, quit drinking, and I owe a lot of it to my amazing sister. She's the reason why I kept chasing down my ex for child support when he stopped suddenly paying. He suddenly switched from the world's best dad to deadbeat dumbass so quickly that my ex-mother-in-law is disgusted with him.
Wow.
His own mother.
Come on. When your own
"Son,
mom
what
is
you
like,
doing?"
you suck, you're doing it all
Oh yeah,
wrong.
you're sucking heavily.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Stella and John, 35 male, got engaged last year. His parents are paying about 60% of the wedding. Our parents are paying 30%. Stella and John are paying for the rest themselves. The biggest caveat is that they must be married in John's family church. Full mass with communion. The family is on board because this is going to be a very big wedding. Tonight, Stella had invited me to dinner as they had finally reserved a date for the church and reception. And I assumed it was to formally ask me to be her maid of honor.
That only makes sense.
Yeah, that would be
They
super
had a
cute.
promise.
Yeah.
She was the maid of honor before.
I was excited since I haven't been in a wedding party aside from my own wedding. John was with her. Weird because Stella didn't mention him coming at all in our text about the dinner. We hugged like usual, but John didn't. Weirder.
What a piece of shit.
After we got our drinks, they got to it. In a nutshell, John expressed the following. Despite my best efforts to keep it secret, my parents found out that you're divorced when they asked why your husband wasn't coming, and they are no longer comfortable with you as a maid of honor because it won't look good to the church if my family hears about the divorce. You can be a bridesmaid, but can't mention the divorce or your conditions at all during the wedding events. There's more to this story, but John, what do you think?
Conditions.
Conditions.
But your face about to get a condition, my friend, because bro, like, it's just so dumb to me.
And also,
it's
like,
so dumb,
especially with everything she's been going like through.
Yeah.
Well, where's the heads up? Like, there should be at least like some heads up, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what should have happened. She should have called up her sisters, like, hey, like, John's being really weird about you being like maid of honor at the wedding because you were divorced. Like, let's talk about it. Like I feel like OP was a little bit blindsided, but we got more to this story.
John sucks.
I was stunned and I felt tears in my eyes. Stella started crying too, and she tried to spin it in a good way. This is way less stressful for you, so it's a good thing. Mother-in-law has already approved my BFF as my maid of honor, so please don't make this any harder. I knew that I couldn't possibly stay there through an entire meal. I had to process this new info alone. I didn't speak. I just paid for my wickedly expensive cocktail and left to order an Uber home. A few hours later, I texted Stella that I would not be in her wedding party at all.
Dang.
That was my decision. I wouldn't pull my daughters out, but I would only attend as a guest. She wouldn't take this as an answer, so I had to temporarily block her due to excessive texts and calls.
Oh my God.
I sent my parents a summary of what happened and promised to call them when I was in better shape tomorrow. Stella thinks that this is a total overreaction. I don't even want to know what John thinks at this point. Please help me. Am I the a-hole? Okay, there's some more, but let's take a little recon.
Dude, yeah, I'm just like, what? Like, you literally got the experience of being her maid of honor, and now you're just like totally flipping it for the dumbest. The reason is just so dumb.
The reason is really, really
dumb.
dumb. The reason is really, really dumb. And it's like, if this is how John's treating her own sister now,
what's it going to be like in the future?
Yeah.
I think the one thing we've learned today is John is an absolute piece of shit. Garbage,
and
deserves
honestly,
to be thrown in a garbage
anyone
disposal.
remotely related or looking or sounding like him thrown to the piranhas.
If you're John, just jump in a river and don't come back.
I have a call scheduled with my parents this afternoon. From what I gather, they are extremely upset with Stella and John at the moment. Depending on how that goes, I will talk to my girls about doing something big and fun instead. The more I think about it, sitting through a mass sounds less and less appealing, and I'm not even religious. Okay, so now there's an update 2 days later.
Oh. Okay.
John found this post as he lurks on Reddit and shared it with Stella.
Yikes.
I wish I used a fake name, Ursula, since she joked about that detail herself. Stella, Ursula, has officially called off the wedding.
Damn, son.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
When John was ranting about the post and how bad the comments were painting him, he said that your sister must be off her gosh darn meds and going manic. You better get her butt under control.
No.
But then Stella, Ursula, actually came undone on him and began calling him out on everything that John and his family had put her through. Then she took off the ring and chucked it across the living room.
Boom. Take that, John.
Yeah, screw you, John.
I hate you.
John went into a rage, and while he didn't do anything but yell at her, he threatened her in regards to her mobility issues. What? Stella uses a cane to walk. This is what triggered her to text our parents and myself. By the time our parents made it to the house, John was gone, and she had packed up her bags and left with them. Her cane was not in the house. Dude, I need to know what everyone else, the story's not over yet,
Yeah.
but please tell us what you would do in this situation.
Oh my
If you were
God,
Stella,
man.
would you break up with John? I think I would.
Yeah. John's a filthy piece of duty.
Stella wanted to thank you all for the comments calling her out. It shattered the mosaic that John built around them. This is actually kind of what we were talking about the other day about how like sometimes when you're being gaslit or manipulated, you don't know how deep the manipulation goes until you're outside of it. And you're like, oh shit.
Totally.
Like, I never realized it could feel so good. And while we're both still raw and processing the last couple of days, I am glad to have my sister again. She was someone else I hardly recognized a few days ago. As kids, I was more outgoing and she was more reserved, so I felt obliged to go along with her the other night despite how conflicted I felt. But again, Stella says, thanks for the wake-up call. And John, if you see this, f you. You know what? F you, Keith. Keith is getting called out.
Oh, goodness.
Dang.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I want to know what all of you think. I mean, one, should Stella have called off the wedding and done all of that? Two, what do you think of the reaction from the parents and the support that they gave OP? And three, what do you think of like how OP thought about the whole process? Like, would you have done the same? What would you have done differently from OP? Have you ever been in this situation? And has anyone ever called off a wedding? I would love to hear that. We would love to interview someone about a wedding.
We would love to hear
story.
your story. Put it on the show.
But
for
John,
sure.
what do you think?
So what was the parents' reaction when?
I mean, they were like, holy shit, can't believe.
Right.
I mean, I guess
They would
they have
do
the
that.
two sets of parents. One of the parents was like, hey, you're a filthy divorce woman. But yeah, the in-laws were terrible. But OP's actual parents seemed like to be really good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, guys, how we've said it so many times that we're blue in the face. There has to be red flags before these events happen.
Yeah.
At
and
least she caught it before she got married.
It seemed like there was. Like she said, like there was this mosaic of all these things that have happened. And she like said like, oh, I'm just going to look past it. But now like she's confronted with these
Kinda
right in her
woke up
face.
to it. Yeah. It's, man, dude, like what is the solution? Like, how do we get these like
divorce
dirt bags?
And in this case, well, I guess before you get married, do the pre-divorce, which is just dumping this guy's ass.
Honestly, very lucky that she didn't get actually married. Because imagine like she
the paperwork you have to do is so
even
annoying.
even just after like the day after
yeah.
So honestly, bullet dodged. I think.
For sure.
I would say obviously John and his family absolute a-holes. Like,
absolute.
Without a doubt. I'm trying to think. Like what can you really put on OP? Like maybe you could say Stella is a little bit of the a-hole too for going along with it initially. I mean, that was an a-hole move to not defend her sister initially.
Yeah. But she was so wrapped up in it. You got to maybe cut her a little break.
Yeah.
But I'm glad she finally came around.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you soon.